You can still learn a lot from driving a Honda Civic as far as like technique and stuff goes, rather than having like a Ferrari where you can just like power out of certain things that you might get caught up in. So it's like having an underpowered.
Okay.
I know that's not the greatest example. What's up, guys? Welcome. My name is Nate Hibbert. I started this to track my progress. So if you're into learning FPV drones, learning about them, this show is for you.
Why the Tinyhawk-II over the Tinyhawk-I? And is the Tinyhawk-I better than what you have now? I guess, why are you trying to buy another drone?
For having more power was my thought process, because there are times where I'm trying to like pull up, and like we even talked about it a week or two ago, where you're like, oh, you're hitting the ground. Do you not mean to do that? I was like, no, it's because I have no control, but it's also because that drone's a little underpowered in my very naive eye for what I'm trying to do. So I think having a more powerful drone, I would be able to like save myself. But it's kind of like driving a car, right? Like you can still learn a lot from driving a Honda Civic as far as like technique and stuff goes, rather than having like a Ferrari where you can just like power out of certain things that you might get caught up in. So it's like having an underpowered.
Okay.
I know that's not the greatest example, but it's like having an underpowered piece of machinery to teach yourself better technique rather than just relying on like the power to be able to pull you out of things. So I don't fully know. I really was just getting interested in this. So this is the Tinyhawk-I.
This is maybe another producer question, but I almost feel like this is the point where you should phone a friend, like bring somebody on that will be able to answer these questions and say, hey, I want to buy a new drone. This is what I have. Can you have a conversation with me of why? And this is what I'm thinking, because I think that will be extremely valuable to you and to other people that are, hey, I have that Acro B and I was thinking about the Tinyhawk. And not only am I getting it from perspective like someone that's in my same exact position, but I'm also getting it from somebody that's a little bit ahead of both of us. So it's getting a lot fuller of a picture of, should I upgrade? Should I go to the next one? Is this low power performance really what I think it is, or is like there are underlining pieces of this? And the same question that I have, is the Tinyhawk-I like the same as the Tinyhawk-II, or is it complete like changeover? Is like, I don't know enough about any of this, but I have questions that I'm sure you have that you could just go and ask somebody that's a little farther ahead of you and that bring clarity, so you're not just like wandering in the dark, not knowing what you're trying to do.
No, I'm definitely making some assumptions on this drone. My thought process for this is like knowing the 3D printer world and just new technology world. Like usually when something is this new as FPV drone flying, which I know some people have been in it like 15 years, but as now more consumers are going to get into it, usually the newest stuff is just the most consumer friendly. So looking at the two drones and just quickly comparing them, it looks like the motors are the same on them, but they're like the camera is a little bit better. The software might be more updated and be able to be adjusted a little bit easier. All things coming from a very naive place. So it is a valid question to ask, like, is two better than one? But when it's a $10 difference, like I'm usually going to skew towards the newer thing at that big of a price difference, which is not much.
Is the version 1 available?
No, they're both out of stock. So, good questions, but...
And then, do you have a timeline for buying this new drone?
I really want my other transmitter to get here. That's, since we were talking about it, like, I don't know if having a more expensive transmitter with better...
Can you bring that up on screen just so I can see it again?
Yeah, the Tango 2 Black Sheep.
So you want that Tango 2 to
I've actually purchased it. Yeah. So my hope was to have this new controller, the Tango 2, before I purchased another drone to see, like, is it the transmitter that's going to make more of a difference, or is it going to be having a new drone that would be more of a difference? But what you're saying makes total sense. Like, I should just be reaching out to those people. Everyone that I reached out to has given me plenty enough information, so it should be something that I reach out to people. But I've been seeing more and more people using this Tango 2, and obviously if it's been on back order for 2 months, like, it's a popular controller to have. So I feel good about this purchase, but I'm very curious to see like what the actual differences will be. Is it just that it's easier to pair with multiple things, or there's more not user input, but there's more like customizing that I can do with
More
this.
features.
Yeah, more features, that kind of thing. Or is it like the actual flying with this controller is going to be a big difference because these gimbals that it has are more sensitive and you can set them different, I don't know, sensitivities or rates, I think they call them. So
yeah, so I think just like having somebody on that's a little farther ahead of you and then just running down your ideas is going to be a very informative conversation.
Right.
And I think it will really help you. And I think getting more people involved is what you're trying to do anyway, of like building this community. I think just having people on is what you should be doing. Like I said, I have no problem being the producer and I have no problem asking you questions, but me asking you a question like, what's one better than two? And you're like, I don't know. And then I go, okay, then somebody else needs to be in here because there's two idiots right now. We don't know nothing.
Right. Thank you guys for checking out the show. If you'd like, you can leave a comment down below. Let me know how you liked the show or where you're at in your drone journey. And you can leave a like on this video as well. If you're interested in my gear or reaching out to me, you can do so in the description down below. Until next week, see you guys around.